All right, let's talk about making numbers talk. Today we're diving into one of the most powerful tools you can have in your data toolkit, the bar chart. Yeah, it sounds simple, but trust me, getting this right is the key to telling really clear, powerful stories with your data. Let's get into it. You know the feeling, right? You're staring at a spreadsheet, maybe a bunch of survey results, just a wall of raw data. It looks like a total mess, but you have a hunch there's a story hiding in there. The real question is, how do you pull that story out? How do you make any sense of it all?
So here's our game plan. We're going to start with why the bar chart is such a fantastic storyteller. Then we'll cover the basics, counting things up. After that, we'll see how to compare different groups, then move beyond simple counts to averages and accuracy. And finally, we'll actually build one together.
So that big problem, that wall of messy data, how do we fix it? Well, you need a tool that can just slice through all that noise and create some order out of the chaos.
And this is where our hero steps in, the bar chart. You've seen them everywhere for a reason. They are just incredibly good at turning that confusing jumble of numbers into a picture that, actually makes sense. It's a tool that lets anyone, and I mean anyone, spot a pattern in seconds.
Okay, so let's start with the absolute fundamentals. What are the basic building blocks that make a bar chart work? And it's hard, this is all it is. A bar chart uses these simple rectangular bars to show frequencies. Basically how many times something shows up in your data. It's really just a clean, simple way to visualize counts. Now you're going to see these in two main flavors. The vertical one is probably what you picture first, with all the categories lined up along the bottom. But don't sleep on the horizontal bar chart. Those are fantastic when you have really long category names, because let's be honest, they're just way easier to read that way.
So why are they so popular? Simple. They work. They give you this instant overview of your data, making it super easy to see which values are biggest, which are smallest, and how they all rank against each other. They're a total staple for a reason.
Okay, counting stuff is a great start, but the real magic of a bar chart, the storytelling power, that really comes alive when you start comparing different groups inside your data. This is where it gets fun. I mean, what if your data has layers? Let's say you don't just want to know how many people drive a certain type of car. What if you want to break that down by something else, like gender? For that, you use a grouped bar chart, and it's such a clever idea. You basically take your bars and split them into smaller groups based on a second variable, and you use different colors to tell them apart. It lets you make these really cool multi-level comparisons all in one go. Take a look here. You can instantly see which car brands are the most common overall, but you can also see the breakdown within each brand. So you're not just comparing Ford to BMW anymore, you're comparing the preferences of different groups within the Ford and BMW categories. See how much more information we're getting now? But wait, there's more. Bar charts aren't just for counting, they're also amazing for showing other things, like averages. And maybe even more importantly, they can show us how much we should trust those averages. That's right. Instead of the bar's height showing a simple count, it can show the mean, or the average value of something. All you need is one variable for your categories, like car brand, and another numerical variable to get the average from, say, miles per gallon. But think about it. An average can be a little tricky, can't it? If some of your numbers are really high and some are really low, the average might not give you the full picture. So how do you show how reliable that number is? And the answer is the error bar. See those little lines sticking out from the top of the bars? That's them. They're a visual way to show how spread out your data is. A tiny error bar means all your data points are huddled together. A big one means they're all over the place. It's a quick visual cue for how much you can trust that average. And what's cool is they can represent a few different statistical ideas. They could show the standard deviation, which tells you about the spread of your data. Or they could show a 95% confidence interval, which gives you a range where the true average probably is. Each one adds this extra layer of detail and honesty to your chart.
Okay, enough with the theory. Let's get our hands dirty and actually build one. You'll see just how simple it is to go from a list of numbers to a really sharp-looking bar chart.
We'll stick with our car example. Imagine we've got a survey from a class, and we just asked everyone what brand of car they drive. So we have a list of answers: Ford, BMW, Audi, Ford again, and so on. Now, if you're using a tool like Numico, this is almost laughably easy. Seriously, you just copy your data in, tell it you want to run some basic summary stats, and then you pick the variable you care about, in this case, car make. And boom, just like that, there's your bar chart. The software automatically counts up how many of each car brand there are and spits out this nice, clean visual. This is our first layer of the story, right? We can see what's most popular at a glance.
But we know we can go deeper. What happens if we bring in that second piece of information we collected in our survey, the gender of each student?
And this is the whole point. The story gets so much richer. It's not just about comparing car brands anymore. Now you can compare who is driving them. You're moving from a simple what to a much more interesting who, and that's where the real insights are.
So there you have it. From a simple count to a complex comparison, the bar chart is such a flexible, powerful way to tell stories. You have the tools, you know the techniques, so the only real question left is, what story is your data waiting to tell?